Good evening, by the way. How are you all doing this evening? Thank you for joining me. I thank you for tuning in to um, this new and improved podcast, which is now also a video cast. And as you can see, it's called Dad Dialect. And once I get my signals going on these other devices, one more and we're good to go. All right, we're up and running. So, hey gang, and I'm talking to multiple streaming services tonight. So, if you see me looking in other directions, it's because I'm trying to give eye contact to the audience on each streaming service. So, with that being said, I think I just lost one of my streaming services. Sorry. Okay. So hopefully my streaming service is good now because it was, and then I was gone. So we'll try this again. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Dad Dialect, which is formerly known as Dad's R. It's my podcast that's on Spotify, Anchor, and uh, Beaker. It's on a lot of places. I'll give you the rundown as we go in the show. But I wanted to discuss on today's show the question of why aren't fathers allowed to feel? Um, I have been talking with a new father on one of my many fathers groups, not one that I run personally, but one that I'm in. And I was going to have him on tonight to discuss what he's been going through, but due to scheduling conflicts, we weren't able to do it. However, I still want to take a minute to talk about his story, and it's probably not as rare as some of you guys may think, being a new parent, but the conversations that we were having on the um, well, actually, I don't even want to say the name of. I'm cutting myself off. I don't even want to say the name of um, the fathers group that we were in because um, the long story short is the father came out asking for some support. He was stressed beyond belief. He said some things that were worrisome to a bunch of us. However, speaking in what is supposed to be a safe place, um, he vented some of his fears and some of his concerns. And somehow, what he wrote got back to his wife. And obviously, that complicated situations considering that she's also a new mother and she's going through postpartum, going through her own stresses and her own fears and her own concerns, which is why Dad reached out to the fathers group, hoping to be able to get some support to kind of get his head back on straight. And obviously, he needs to seek professional help. Nobody is disputing that. But when you're on social media as much as we are now in today's time, it's nothing to be able to reach out and shoot a message to in a forum that you believe is supposed to be one, secure, two, where there are people that are actually trying to give positive feedback and positive advice to new fathers or fathers going through tough times. I mean, there's literally thousands of them, as well as there's thousands of mothers groups, and the similar things happen in those groups as well as any group about any topic where the information is sensitive or the content is sensitive. So, with that being said, it was really upsetting, and the actual root of the message kind of got lost in the outrage that people were displaying surrounding the fact that uh, what he wrote actually made it back to his wife. And excuse me, I think, and it made it back to its wife. So, and how it happened was actually quite disturbing. Um, so just picture yourself being a new parent, a new dad, or a new mom, because this is generic. Um, and you reach out about stresses. You have this crying baby. This baby is pooping everywhere, crying. You can't really console the child. You don't know what's going on. You have a new wife or a new husband that's also stressed out and concerned about whether you're doing the right thing. I mean, is the baby getting enough food? Is the baby uh, hurt? Any of those things. And then you are already at each other's throats because you're both on edge. Um, you're not getting much sleep. All those things that come along with being a new parent. And well, actually, it's even worse because obviously we're in C-19 and this is unprecedented times in the first place. And it has um, these moments have, or these past few months have had solid relationships on the ropes and on rocky ground because of just the stresses that are coming along with being in this I can't even call it a new world. It's unreal. This unreal um, reality that we're living in right now. So anyway, so you have all those things going on, and then maybe the baby woke her up, or I mean, maybe she was up for a feeding, or the baby was crying, but she goes to check her Facebook page, and she receives um, an anonymous message. Well, it wasn't anonymous; it was from some woman, which is disturbing in its own right because this is a secure group for fathers. So, how did uh, a woman get a hold of this message in the first place is beyond uh, most comprehension. But anyway, so a message from this woman saying that you know she also screenshot. It was a screenshot of the husband's message and said, I just wanted to reach out to you because this was very disturbing, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone was going to be okay, and and everyone was going to be safe. So the father um, is awakened by his obviously disturbed wife with this message at 4 a.m., wanting to know what was going on. And so um, he came back to the group, um, you know, distraught about how this happened in the first place, and um, concerned about the fact that he was there just to get some support to try to be more supportive to his wife, as well as to understand that he's not alone, that these things that stresses happen when you're a new parent, that uh not being sure whether you're changing diapers, is the diaper on right, making sure the bottle isn't too hot, all of those things, those are normal things, those are normal fears, normal concerns, normal stresses. And for him to understand that he's not alone, so that he can go back to trying to be supportive to his wife. Instead, his worst fear has come to light because he came to the group because he didn't want to bring this to his wife. He didn't want to add stress to her. He didn't want to add to her uh, current state. He didn't want to add to that. So obviously now that has happened. So it brings me back to the question of why aren't fathers allowed to feel? Why is it that his concern, and listen, I don't think I've had crazy concerns. I didn't have concerns about wait, I'll remember. I'll tell you this one story side note. So, excuse me a second. I was a young parent. I was a teenager when my oldest daughter was born. And during delivery, now I was wide awake because I should have been, or well, obviously I should have been there where I was, but I had hoped to have been at a Janet Jackson concert that was happening the eve of my daughter's birth. And because mom went into labor, I didn't make it to that concert. So that was that. But because I was up, I was amped, I was stressed, I was anxious about a baby coming, also wondering, I mean, because I think we were at the hospital. Well, she was there first. I left work and probably got there around 4, and our daughter didn't come until 12:12 the next AM, so the next day. And I was thinking to myself, I could have made it to that Janet Jackson concert. It was over at 11, been back, and still been there for the birth of our beautiful daughter. But nonetheless, I never left. I had the tickets. I never left. Nurse wanted to buy them. I said, "Oh, I don't have them. I wasn't. If I couldn't go, nobody was going." But I digress on that. But when our daughter came out, being a teen, seeing my first real life pregnancy happen, she was super light, but to me, she looked gray. So I was super concerned. Like, what the hell is that? Is that the baby? Is that really the baby? So, and I just tell you guys that just to say that, you don't know what's going through your mind when you're in the delivery room, or those first couple of days when you're home with the baby from the hospital. All of those things, you kind of go through a lot of emotions. You kind of go through a lot of thoughts, and most importantly, your thoughts are you doing it right? Are you taking care of the child? When you're handling the baby, when you're cleaning the baby, are you hurting the baby? Are you being too rough? All those normal concerns that normal folks have, especially new parents. So I've heard stories where moms were so irritated or so on edge that they would do anything to stop the baby from crying. They talked about throwing the baby across the room, that kind of thing. And moms get support for that. Moms get, "Oh, don't worry, it'll be all right. Oh, it's okay," and all those things. But dad is, "Oh, is he a serial killer? Is he a psychopath? What's wrong with him? Why is he thinking these thoughts? Why is he behaving this way?" And again, so it brings me back to the question of, why is it that as fathers or as men, why can we not feel? Why are our feelings always labeled as negative feelings, or villainized as, we're about to destroy the world because we're upset, or because we're worried, or because we're scared about something? And I wish I could have had him here so that we could kind of talk about it. But ultimately, my belief is probably that it's still really, really fresh. And obviously, this is probably not the time to talk about it. He should be getting that help that he needs, and also looking to get some support for him and his wife. But so I'm bringing it to you guys because I've been in similar situations in the sense of, well, not that with my children, but with my feelings always being labeled as something that they're not. And society does it like automatically from being a child. If you're in school and you're playing on the playground, if you're yelling and screaming, you're angry. Or if you're in a fight, obviously you're angry. It doesn't have anything to do with what caused you to be upset. It has more to do with the fact that you're angry and aggressive. And that's how we're labeled. And that's how we're seen, as angry and aggressive. And sadly, society has taught us to do it ourselves. So like, instead of we can love on our daughters, but we don't necessarily love on our sons. I mean, I do because my sons need love just like my daughters need love. So, but um, from a male perspective, the common word is, especially in our community, is man up, man up. Like he's two, like he just fell off the swing. What do you mean, man up? If you're grown behind fell off the swing right now and it hit your head, I'm pretty sure you'd be hurt. You'd feel that. And somebody telling you to get up and man up would be irritating to you and would be insensitive to you. So, excuse me. So, why wouldn't it be insensitive to a 2-year old? So, I mean, are we really, uh, do we have to be this barbaric that if we're feeling or if we're gentle or soft, we're deemed soft when technically, if you're a gentleman, you're supposed to be gentle. I mean, I believe in gentle strength. I believe that that's how you're supposed to raise well-rounded and most importantly, loving children by showing that gentle strength, by being loving, um, by being able to embrace, by being able to hug and kiss your children, whether that's your son or your daughter, to be able to hug and kiss them is something that um, so many children probably lack right now because either men are too proud to do it or too afraid to do it. And that's not cool. It's not okay. I mean, imagine how much happier our children could be, or how much more productive our children could be with dad more consistently in their life, but B, being able to be loved on by their father and it be deemed okay. How many men would be able to be more open to loving or expressing their love and their feelings if it was deemed acceptable and okay versus being deemed, um, oh, you're a punk or man up or um, anger or being seen as anger. Why does sadness have to be seen as anger? Why does disappointment have to be seen as anger? Why does heartbreak have to be seen as anger? Why at a funeral does the man have to be hard and stern and holding on? Like, listen, I just lost the love of my life. Where at the funeral, if I just lost the love of my life, no, I'm probably going to be falling apart because that's the love of my life. And as I should be able to feel. I should be able to feel. And you can't say goodbye twice. Once that body is being lowered into the ground, it's not like you're going to be able to, after everyone leave, dig it back up and then have your own private goodbye. So, I mean, the thought that we can't be sensitive, the thought that we can't have feelings that are deemed anything other than anger is absurd to me. And I just don't understand why no one else is talking about it, why no one else seems to think that it's an issue. So um, it's sad. It's sad right now. I feel for that father. Excuse me. I feel for that father. I feel for their relationship. Um, I mean, the fears of being a new parent is enough to strain a marriage in the first place. But when you add the things that you say in private, or the things that and listen, let me just say this clearly, that was probably not the best thing to do. It probably was not the best thing to do to go to um, a group full of strangers, whether or not it's supposed to be um, a forum to uplift and encourage. It was probably not the best thing to share as much as he shared. But I mean, I've been in a place during my divorce where I overshared. Sometimes you just need to get it out. And maybe that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to get it out. And, there was a lot of fathers, I mean, hundreds of fathers being supportive. And, but this still got back to his wife. And I can only imagine how devastating he must feel, expressing things out of fear that aren't even real. I mean, it's like, you know, the parent who says, I never wanted to have this baby anyway. And then, you know, went all through the child's childhood and into adulthood, loving that child like nobody's business. And then the child finding out, oh, yeah, but you know what? When you were 3 weeks, daddy didn't want you. Or when you were 6 months, mommy didn't want you. Maybe, depending on the age of the child would understand, but maybe the child wouldn't either. So why would it be okay for that to come out? It shouldn't be. Some things that you say should be okay for you to just be able to say them or think them. I mean, I'm not somebody who always says, say what's on your mind. I mean, I know there's a lot of people, there's a lot of Sagittariuses out there who believe in saying what's exactly on their mind and don't care about no chaser or any of that stuff. Me, I believe that things just can't be unheard. So if you say something that isn't necessarily truly how you feel, you can't take that back. I mean, people may say, "Oh, don't worry, I forgive you," or people may say, "Oh, I'm not bothered by it," but you cannot unhear negative things that have been talked that once you speak them out into existence, you cannot whoever heard them or read them, they can't unsee them and they can't unhear them. So that is something that we all should really take to heed and take to heart when we're angry or upset or emotional, to be sure to not say things that could be hurtful, things that could come back to hurt you, your loved ones, your relationship, your job, whatever the case may be. You should like just be mindful of that because sometimes it could be that one person, like in this situation, in this father's forum, how did a woman, unless it was a mole, unless it's somebody with some fake account, uh, which would be sick. Who has the time to have fake accounts to be trolling through chat rooms to see what dads are saying here and what dads are saying there to sell this to destroy somebody's relationship in the sake for the sake of trying to save them? You don't know them. I mean, if you were really concerned, in my opinion, if you were really concerned, you probably should have called the police versus um, trying to uh, reach out to the wife, or why not reach out to the father and say, "Hey, are you okay? I'm concerned about some of the things that you wrote. Maybe you should seek some help. I mean, is there anything I can do to help?" That would have been awesome. But to just send a screenshot of a message to someone else that you don't know, you don't know what could have went down in that house once that happened. Why would you think that that was okay? People are weird. And I don't mean weird in a good way because there's good weird. I mean, I'm weird probably to a lot of people, but there's cool weird, there's good weird, but then there's weirdos, people who just don't know what to do with their time and don't know how to stay out of other people's businesses. And especially when you do it in the name of, I'm looking out for someone. Are you really? Are you really looking out for this person? Are you really looking out for that person? That's something you should probably think about. Um, I need to take a break for a minute because it looks like my um, laptop is dying and this is not the right charger. So bear with me